Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, a podcast where you look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. I want to thank Premium again for coming into the studio while during the Olympic pause. And adding a little bit different perspective to things. Did have technical difficulties trying to get that set up. I do have a phone patch, and we tried using the phone patch, and there was some radio station interference for some reason. I've got to figure that out. So basically had to set a microphone up in front of the mic, and then I talked to we were both using the same mic. So I think the production quality could have been better, but I think the content was good, and reviewing it, I think that it sounded okay. It sounded okay. It's not like something I hadn't heard before on a TV, on some radio show or whatnot when a guy's calling in and the quality is low. But anyway, we are tentatively planning on, the Preds schedule here. Premium is going to be in town. Oh, yeah, I need to get that other one up. In a couple weeks, we are going to try to go to the Boston game. So we're going to try to go to the Boston game together and then do the Buffalo preview show. He wants to sit in. So we'll, if I don't like it, I guess I can re-record it after he's gone. The Buffalo preview show. No, I wouldn't be able to redo the Buffalo show. Buffalo is on Saturday. He'll still be here. But anyway, should be fine. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. It's interesting sometimes to talk to people that have a little bit different perspective. You kind of forget some of these things just because you've been around it for so long. Listening to a podcast, a little shout out to Inside the Rink. They've asked me to host an ECHL podcast, so I'll be doing that sometime soon. But I was listening to their podcast over the weekend, and a programming note, I am doing this a couple days ahead. I am going to be out of town over the weekend, and so I'm doing the first two games ahead of time. The pause is over. The pause isn't over, but the trading pause, I guess it was over last night. No big news so far today that I've seen. So if things happen this week, I may have done my recording beforehand. Apologize. Hopefully it doesn't take away too much. The numbers are the numbers for the teams. I guess the people to watch and any updates would be might be a little out of date, but it should be all in all, there shouldn't be any problem with me doing it ahead of time. And I have to do it ahead of time anyway because I'm going to be out of town. And so I'm doing these ahead of time. And then the other programming note went over already. Premium is going to be in town. We're going to do the Buffalo preview show together. And so the trade pause did end last night, and I guess I do say I didn't watch a lot of the Olympics. I did watch skeleton and luge, which was fun. Do try to the cross was snowboarding cross. I've enjoyed in the past, and by the time I remembered that it was a sport, it was over, and I'm not really. Maybe we'll go back and watch it because I do think I think it is a really fun sport to watch. But I did watch a little of the Olympic gold medal games. Caught the women at the end. And so congratulations to both the men's and women's Olympic hockey teams. I'm not as big a fan of it being NHL players. it just, I don't know. I prefer, well, I don't know how much are amateurs when they're at the Olympic level anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to pull for them because, the Preds players were not on the U.S. team, and a lot of the guys that are on the U.S. team I don't pull for and or don't like. So, go USA, but, other than that, don't really care. I think, was it Brody? Brody got a hat trick from us when Minnesota was in town, and then boy was he good in the Olympics. So, congratulations to them, but I didn't really watch. So that's all I can say. Anyhow, 6 minutes into the program, we barely talked about hockey, but hey, I guess that's par for the course. Well, I have to say, Premium did a really great job of talking about quantum inner squares. But I'm going to keep it short. QuantumSquares.com, Preds Pro, get you 25% off. He seemed to enjoy watching the videos. I don't enjoy videos that just pop up on websites and start running, especially when they're not muted by default. So QuantumSquares.com, Preds Pro, get you 25% off. CozyEarth.com, Preds Pro, get you 21% off. And I guess I heard something, I really haven't looked into this brand because $98 for slippers, and I just keep moving on. But I guess they do have a is it 100-day return policy? It's supposed to be pretty good. Like I say, CozyEarth.com, Preds Pro gets you 21% off. At the end of February, they're supposed to be reducing their prices. And because I guess if you had a discount code before January 1st, it apparently was 41%. I signed up after that. So, 21% off. There's everybody else's that's 41 is going to 21 at the, boy, their website, their logos are kind of messed up now. They will be going to 21% in March as well, when the prices are supposed to come down. Anyway, so I know I've had a short break already, but let's take another short break. Wow. Okay. So let's get to it. What's going on here? Well, the pause, by the time you're hearing this, assuming I release it at the right time, the pause is over. As I said, I recorded this some ahead of time, so I don't know if there's some trades that have happened that are impacting the Preds or Chicago. I've missed that. But anyway, so Thursday night, the Chicago Blackhawks are back on. The Chicago Blackhawks are on the road here in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena, 7 o'clock, home game for the Preds, kicking off the post-pausal, the post-pause partum. Maybe it's a bad idea doing things in the afternoon. Anyway, so the Chicago Blackhawks will be in town. Blackhawks is one word. Earlier in their history, it was actually two. But anyway, so the Chicago Blackhawks are in town. They are 6th in the Central Division with 53 points. They're 22, 26, and 9 on the road. They are 10, 12, and 4. They are 6 points behind Nashville, played the same number of games. And then they are 1 point ahead of Winnipeg and have played one more game. As I mentioned to Premium when we were talking about the wild card hunt, it feels to me like Chicago is the first team out. I guess I think San Jose is the last team that's going to that reasonably has a shot at the playoffs. I think Vancouver, St. Louis, Calgary, Winnipeg, Chicago. I think all those teams are. I mean, so in the wild card hunt, let's look at the wild card. The Utah is first in the wild card one position. They're 1 point ahead of Anaheim. They have played one more game than Anaheim. They do have 5 regulation win advantage over Anaheim. So that's the Anaheim situation. As far as wild card 2 goes, wild card 2 are the Ducks. And Chicago is 10 points behind. They've played one less game they played one more game than Anaheim. That'd be a +1. Kind of that my pluses and minuses kind of got a little backwards. But yeah, Chicago's played one more game than Anaheim. They're 10 points behind them, and they have Anaheim has the regulation win advantage at this point in time of 1. So 10 points, 25 games left. The math there is just not looking good. And there's 3 teams between them and the Ducks. So I think the calculation for them has to be. Oh, I remember what I was talking about, that Inside the Rink podcast. They were talking about the Preds as if the Preds, they were talking about San Jose needing players and making a run. And they were talking about getting players from the Preds who are ahead of the San Jose in the wild card hunt. Shout out to Inside the Rink, but I think those guys, I don't know why they were looking at Nashville as if Nashville wasn't in a playoff, ready to make a playoff run. But anyway, so Colorado, or Chicago, they started off talking about a couple of Chicago players. And so now when I go through my injured list, some players may be injured, as in sitting out, waiting to be traded. So we'll kind of go through those stats as well for the teams moving forward. But yeah, they're 10 points out. Anaheim you got one more game in hand. So I just don't. To me, if I was in Blackhawk management, I would be trying to look to see how to make my team better moving forward. And so anybody that was below them in the standings here in the West, go through the East, but we're not playing the East right now, so who cares? Anyway, so. Yeah, then the question is, who are they willing to give up, and what are they might be looking for, that kind of thing. How can they go back to being a team that can compete for the divisional spots at least. So that's my take on Chicago. For Chicago, this is the first game of a 4-game road trip. They did play one before the pause. And I think that's a big enough gap that we're not going to call this a 5-game road trip. So it's a 4-game road trip. This is the first game. They do a back-to-back during the road trip. They get the lucky break of playing Colorado and Utah on Saturday and Sunday. Woo! And then Tuesday they play Winnipeg. So that'll be in the other 3 games of this upcoming road trip. As far as the series goes, this is the third of 4 versus Nashville. The series is tied 1-1. The Preds won in Chicago back in November 4-3. And then in Nashville on January 10th, Chicago blanked Nashville 3-0. Their next meetup will be March 22nd. Last year, Chicago only won 1 of the 4 games. They won the 3rd game, February 7th, 6-2 in Chicago. So hopefully they only win 1 again this year. But that's where they are at. Notable personnel changes. They do have 5 players that are injured. 2 were injured when we played earlier, but those are both season-ending injuries. Number 6 defenseman Shea Weber is out for the season. And number 94 defenseman Ryan Ellis, they got in a trade from San Jose back in October, and he was injured for the season. So he's still injured, but he's injured on Chicago's roster now. I'll go through the stats on those two guys in a minute. The other players, number 34 center Colton Dock. I realize I might be saying this. On that podcast I was listening to, the Montreal player that I've talked about before, Patrick Lane. They were saying it was Laney or Lane. It's a different way, and I'm just going to say off the bat, I probably pronounce all these names wrong unless I've heard them pronounced. I'm going to potentially get it wrong. Anyway, so number 34 center Colton Dock, day to day as of the 4th of February, expected back on the 26th, and the 26th is when they're playing. Yeah, so 26th is when they're playing. So he may be back. He's 23. He's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the season, 8/25. I didn't see any stats on him in particular, but there you go. Number 16, center Jason Dickinson is also day-to-day as of the 19th and not expected back till the 26th. He's 30, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season, $4.5 million. Number 44, defenseman Wyatt Kaiser, day-to-day as of the 4th of February, expected back on the 28th. He's 23. He's got one more year on his contract, restricted free agent at the end of that, $1.7 million. As far as Shea Weber go, he's 40. He'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season, so I wouldn't expect him to come back. I think that maybe this is it. Not that he couldn't come back. Was it Chris Chelios played till he was 43? But sad to see somebody injured like that, especially this season injured. I guess Kevin Fiala got injured in the Olympics, plays for the Kings, and he could be out. Maybe he comes back at the playoffs, they said. But anyway, but Shea Weber, $7.857 million. And then number 94, defenseman Ryan Ellis, out for the season. They said he got him in a trade. He hasn't played for them. He's 35. He's got one more year on his contract, an unrestricted free agent, $6.25 million. So those people are on their injured reserve, and 4 of them potentially could be on the trading blocks. Well, I don't know. Ryan Ellis probably not, but maybe. Maybe if somebody really wanted a defenseman and didn't want him till next year. Anyway, as far as transactions goes, on the 18th of February, they did recall number 6 defenseman Sam Renzel and number 14 defenseman Kevin Korchinski from the Rockford Ice Hogs. And that is Chicago. For the Nashville Predators, back. Yeah, I was listening to the Predators official podcast also over the weekend, and I guess they were doing some 5-on-5s, and one of the grouping of teams was those from Ontario, and then the rest of Canada and U.S., something along those lines. But they did need to call up a goaltender. We'll get to that. That was kind of interesting. That was really kind of interesting, looking into the goaltender situation for Nashville. And like I said, I'll get to previewing. On the edge of your seat now. Well, the Nashville Predators are 5th in the Central with 59 points. They are 26, 24, and 7. At home, they are 15, 12, and 3. They are 5 points behind Utah. They've played the same number of games. Utah does have the regulation win advantage of 4. Then behind Nashville is Chicago, 6 points behind. They played the same number of games. Nashville does have a 2-game regulation win advantage. As far as the wild card spots go, Utah is in the first wild card spot, and then followed by Anaheim. So the Preds are 4 points behind Anaheim. Anaheim and Seattle taking turns in the third Pacific spot. This stat could be completely wrong. Completely wrong. It's just slightly wrong. It's points of teams, because Anaheim and Seattle are both playing on Wednesday. The Preds don't play till Thursday. So when you're listening to this, it might be wrong, and San Jose may or may not be playing. The Preds have skipped ahead of San Jose in the last game. They have played 2 more games than San Jose. So really, kind of, San Jose has the advantage there. 2 games in hand, down 1 point. Preds listed above them, but still very much in the mix. Anaheim, 63 points, the Preds at 59. And the Preds do have a 1-game regulation win advantage over Anaheim, but they have played 1 more game than Anaheim. So, it's still pretty tight for the wild card spots. The divisional spots looking pretty good for the Central, because they've got a 13-point gap between Dallas and Utah. Colorado is coming back to earth. They're kind of getting reeled back in by the Minnesota Wild, who were 8-1-1 at the end, and their last 10, 7-3 for Dallas, 4-5-1 for Colorado. So if Colorado were resting players and thinking they were going to sail into the sunset, they might want to furl their sails again, because they're only 5 points ahead of Minnesota. Now, they played 3 less games, so not in any danger of losing the first spot there. And I think they still have a clear advantage on first in the league. But that could start to become a problem if they continue on this trend. But what's not really going to change unless Minnesota or Dallas really collapse. Utah's 13 points behind them. 13 points behind them with 25 games. So I think the Central Division is pretty well wrapped up. As far as the 3 that are going to be in the divisional spots, what order could be different. But the Pacific, tighter. Vegas has a little bit of an advantage now over Edmonton, 4 points. Seattle is 1 point behind Edmonton. Edmonton has played 2 more games than Seattle, so actually Seattle has a little bit of an advantage there, as does Anaheim, because Anaheim is at 63. Seattle and Anaheim are basically tied, but Seattle does have the regulation win advantage. So Edmonton, Seattle, and Anaheim. And I did go through my playoff things a little bit, my playoff analysis, and I have Edmonton as a wild card team. I don't have them as a divisional spot in the Pacific. I got Anaheim and Seattle overtaking Edmonton. But that's time to tell. Time will tell. Anyway, so that's the playoff look here in the Western Conference with the Preds in mind. For the Preds, this is a 1-game homestand. Really interesting part of the schedule. There was the pause, and then they've got 5 games where they're alternate away and home. So this is the home game. So the next 4 will alternate away and home, which include a back-to-back. So they'll play Saturday at Dallas and then come back to Nashville to play Detroit, then go to Columbus the next day. So Monday, Detroit, Tuesday at Columbus, and then Thursday, Boston will come to Nashville. After that, they do have 5 on the road. 5 on the road, and none of those are in back-to-back situations. So 5 games, counting the Chicago game where they're alternating home and away, including a back-to-back with Detroit and Columbus. And so that is what their future looks like. So as far as player situation goes, we have nobody listed as injured. Woohoo! So Nicholas Hague must have come off the end. And when did Nick Hague? Anyway, nobody's on the player list, on the injured list. A few transactions alluded to this a little bit when I was talking to Premium. But back on the 5th, the Preds did assign Matthew Wood to Milwaukee, and on the 6th, they assigned Reed Schaefer to Milwaukee. They had called him up. I don't think he played, but they had brought him back up. On the 19th, they did recall the goaltender Matt Murphy from Milwaukee. And I think he was part of the training camp, with UC Saros being in the Olympics. And the Preds started practicing again last week. I was listening to their podcast on the 20th, and they were already talking about it. So sometime last week, they started practicing again, and so they brought up Matt Murphy from Milwaukee. So when they bring up Matt Murphy from Milwaukee, Milwaukee's still playing. So what does Milwaukee do? Well, Milwaukee goes to Atlanta and say, bring up Symptom Helter. I guess Symptom Helter, his contract is with Milwaukee. He's just loaned to Atlanta. So then Atlanta only had one goaltender. So what did they do? So the second goaltender in Atlanta is number 33, goaltender Carter McPhail. Now, one thing I could not figure out was how he wound up in Atlanta. Something happened. He played like one game with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, who loaned him. So he was on loan. It was the FPHL, something like that, from the Athens Rock Lobsters. The Athens Rock Lobsters, awesome logo. Very excited to see that. Had to send that to Premium as soon as I saw that. Just got a crack, just laughing my head off looking at all of this. But in the midst of all this, I forgot to continue my research on how did they get him. It did not. There was nothing on the Athens Rock Lobsters website, news about it, nothing in Atlanta, nothing in the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Swamp Rabbits being the ECHL team for the Los Angeles Kings. But yeah, so don't know. Just don't know. But there he is. He's in Atlanta until UC Saros comes back here, and Murray will go back down to Milwaukee, and then Symptom Helter will go back to Atlanta. Completing the merry-go-round of goaltenders here with the Nashville Predators. Probably not the only team doing stuff like that, but did think it was kind of interesting because, these teams only have two goaltenders. So, when somebody gets injured or whatnot, they got to pull them up, take them down, that kind of spin them around. And at some point you run out of goaltenders, right? So the Preds did have 7 goaltenders in training camp, but one went back to, I think, Fort Wayne or something like that. So not under contract, so I guess they can't just bring him from wherever. So kind of interesting to see how all that works. Anyway, I got a chuckle. Just had a good time looking all that stuff up. Anyway, so on February 22nd, probably heard, they did recall number 58 left wing Zachary Leroux and number 71 right wing Matthew Wood from Milwaukee. So Leroux and Wood are back up with the club. Wood was here beforehand, so not sure why Leroux is up because we don't really have a spot. There's nothing really open right now, so I don't know. I talked to Premium, and I listened to that podcast over the weekend too. Yeah, a lot of hockey podcasts for me over the weekend. And I'll say it again. I think the Preds are better off without Marcia Show. I hate to say that. He's a good player. He'll be a good player somewhere. He just doesn't seem to be getting. They don't seem to be able to find a place for him here. They've tried a number of different places and under different scenarios, and just not seems to doesn't really seem to be that kind of thing, right? And so I don't know. I don't know. So I think potentially he could be on the list. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So maybe that's why Leroux is up. But I did say I thought his plus minus would have been bad since he came back. It looks like that's not really the case. When did he come back? Yeah, I don't know. So his plus minus 1 in February. He did have -3 against Vegas. Yeah, I guess since he came back, basically 0. -3 against Vegas. He's had 1 point in 3 games. But it just doesn't. 2 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, plus minus of 0. Yeah, I think the Preds would be better off without him, but maybe that's why Leroux is up. Maybe they've the same thing. So anyway, that long-winded goaltender discussion takes us to stats. Right. So starting off, the first goal. Let's see. The Preds are at home. So the Preds started off with the first goal of the game. And when they get the first goal of the game at home, they are 7-3-1. So maybe roughly about a 2-1 advantage if they get it. If they don't get it, 8-9-2. So no fear. If they don't get the first goal, it's not, still pretty good chance of winning. They've still pulled things out. So, no biggie there. Yeah, okay, so then if it happens in the first period, the Preds are 5-3-1 if they get it. So that comes back normal to a coin flip. 2-0 when it happens in the second period. So if they don't get it, and it does happen in the first period, they're 6-8-2. So I don't know, if you want to look at it from the standpoint that those 2 overtime losses are losses, then 6-10, so maybe just under 2-1 advantage for the other team. If the first goal happens in the second period, the Preds are 2-1, 2-1-0. So if the other team gets it, so if the other team, if the first goal is in the second period, the Preds are 4-1-0. That's pretty good. Maybe a slight advantage for the Preds getting the first goal in the first period, a slight advantage for the opponents getting the first goal in the first period. But all in all, not really a telling scenario. And which takes us to winning by period. The Preds have a losing record in all periods except shootout. So the Preds are 6-9-15 in the first period, so more likely the tie than win or lose, and 3-2 advantage losing over winning if they don't tie it. If they get the first goal, they have not lost the first period this season. They're 6-0-5, so they haven't won all of them, and it's kind of a coin flip on whether they win or tie, but they have not lost the first period at home this year when they've gotten the first goal. Or correspondingly, they have not won the first period when they have not gotten the first goal. So, and that's a coin flip. They don't get the first goal. I guess it's the same both ways. Even odds on tying or losing, even odds on winning or tying if they get it or don't get it. Funny how that works. First goal in the period. I'm going to skip past that. The second period, 7-10-13 is the record, which is, slight advantage with 50%, roughly 50% to lose more than win, and twice as likely to tie than win, and a third more likely to tie than lose. So take your shot there. If the Preds got the first goal, not necessarily in the second period, but if the Preds got the first goal, it's a toss-up, 3-4-4. 3 wins, 4 losses, 4 ties for that period. If they did not get the first goal, 4-6-9. Not that great. The third period looks worse. 9-13-8, the highest number being losing. The first 2 periods, the highest number were ties. The third period, the highest number is losing. The numbers are fairly close, but 50% more likely to lose than win, even money on winning or tying. And, same thing, about 50% more likely to lose than tie. If the Preds got the first goal in the game, 4-4-3. 3-4-4 in the second period, 4-4-3 in the third. That's funny. The numbers are funny. If they did not get the first goal, their record in the third period is 5-9-5. So I guess about twice as likely to lose than tie or win. And even money on winning and tying. But all that being said, how does that relate to winning and losing? Because that's what matters. And it's where we get to the really weird statistic and what's more beneficial to the Preds this season. Winning the first period, 50-50. So they've won the first period 6 times and they're 3-3. They've lost the first period 9 times and they're 3-6. Not so bad. Tying it, they're 9-6. At least that's a winning record. The second period, 7 times they've won it, 4-3. Losing it 10 times, 2-8, and then tying it 13 times, 9-4. 9-4. So then we come to the third period. 9 times they've won it, they're 8-1 in those 9 games. 13 times they've lost, 1-12, and tying it 6-2. So basically, so that the best scenario, tying the first, tying the second, winning the third. They've heard me talk about that. When you take away the empty nets, the 9 wins for the Preds do become 7-2. So one game, 7-2, and the 9 games where they won the third period. 10 times they lost the third period, taking out the empty nets. They're 2-8. And then 11 times they have tied the third period, taking out the empty nets, and they are 6-5. So then looking at the combinatorics of the first and second period, win, losing, and tying, the most frequent scenario is to tie the first, tie the second, which they did do, was against Minnesota the other night. They did lose the game, so now they have a blemished record of 7-0-1 in the tie and tie scenario. Other times that they have tied the first period, when they win the second period, that's happened 3 times and they're 1-1-1. It's not really the result you'd expect. Tying the first, winning the second, and you're better off to have tied the second. That's just kind of weird. Tying the first, losing the second. We'll just stick with tying the first for now. 4 times, not so good. 1, 2, and 1. At least there is a win in that scenario. Let's go through the scenarios when they lose the first, losing the first, winning the second. That's happened twice. They're 1-1. So not too bad. Losing the first, losing the second. Normally, you lose 2 periods, you lose the game, unless you win 2 periods. But the Preds the other night found a way to win the third period and win the game after losing the first and second periods. So 3 times they've lost the first and second, and they're 1-2. 1-2. Losing the first, tying the second, not a very good record, 1-3. So losing the first, tying is worse than losing the first and losing the second. That's just that one more data point. I'm sure one more data point in the lose, and they'll be all the same there. Let's see, then winning the first scenarios, winning the first, winning the second. That's happened twice. They're 2-0. Winning the first, losing the second, 0-3. 3 times, 0-3-0. So apparently if they win the first and lose the second, they just lose all their momentum. Win the first, tie the second, 1-0. That's why I really kind of pull for tying the second, especially having tied the first. That really kind of is the best scenario. And just for grins, looking up here at the tying the second scenario, the combinatorics of second and third period, 4 times they've tied the second and won the third, and they're 4-0 in those games. Tying the second, losing the third has happened 4 times, and they're 1-3, 1-3-0, and then tying the second and tying the third 5 times. That's the second most frequent thing to happen in the second and third period combinatorics. And they are 4-0-1 in those 5 ties. So like I said, you can't tie all 3 periods and win the game. I just did realize the other day, you can't win 4 periods. You can't lose 4 periods because you win 3, game's over. You lose 3, game's over. But you can tie 4 periods, which the Preds have done 3 times this year. So that was something new I had to add to my stats the other night. The Milwaukee game, I think they tied the 3 periods and lost in overtime. That wouldn't have been what triggered it. But anyway, I did see something. I'm like, wait a minute here. So I had to go back and change my spreadsheet to add that scenario of having tied 4 periods. But anyway, so the most frequent scenario to happen between the combinatorics of the second and third period is, unfortunately, to lose the second and lose the third. That has happened 7 times, and guess what? They are 0-7 in those circumstances. Anyway, so that's your result correlation, which takes us to goals. And we start off talking about goals, talking about when the winning goal is scored, and maybe by explaining it multiple times, I didn't have to explain that to Premium, but then maybe he just, forgot to ask. But at home, the Preds, most frequently, the winning goal is being scored in the third period. That's 11 times, 37%. And then next up is the second period with 8, and that's 27%, and that's got a pretty good gap over overtime, which is 5 times, 17%, and then the first and shootout are both at 3. So 11, pretty good there. Third period, when the Preds win, about almost half, because they got 15 wins at home, so it's not evenly divisible. But 7 times they scored the winning goal in the third period. That's 47%. After that, it drops to 3, from 7 to 3, and that is shootout. That 20%. Then twice in overtime, twice in the second period, and only once in the first. For the opponents are most likely to score the winning goal in the second period, but that's just 6 times, I guess, out of 15, right? 6 times. What do you know about that? What about overtime? Maybe I'll take a little note here, and because it might matter about overtime. Oh, wait, no, you've got overtime. Right, if it went to overtime, dude. Never mind. Yeah, if the game goes to overtime, the winning goal is not scored in the first period, second period, third period. It's either overtime or shootout. Hello. Sorry about that. A little brain fart. So 6 times in the second period, but 4 times in the third. So 40% in the second, 27 in the third, and then 3 times in overtime and twice in the first, and none in the shootout. So then looking at the home team versus the road team winning, the home team has won 31 times in the Preds games, 10 times the winning goal scored in the third, 8 times in the second. So that is the most there, 6 in overtime, 4 in the first, and 3 in a shootout. Finally, we get the first period with more than the shootout. For the road team winning, 10 times in the third period, just like, this is very similar. 10 times in the third and 8 in the second. Then things get a little bit different. Have to, because there's 5 data points different. But yeah, 10 and 8, third and second. And then 5 times in overtime and 3 times in the first, none in a shootout. Yeah, so then I said, okay, we'll break that out. Home team wins. And we've got the data up above, so all I had to do is just copy the data down. The Preds are on the road, are at home for the game against Chicago. So we already talked about that. So let's just, not sure what I'm going to do with this data, but I don't want to do anything with it today. Anyway, so that is your winning goal. But what about goal scoring? Okay. So at home games, the Preds are being outscored in all 3 periods. Well, they're counting overtime and shootouts. The Preds are being outscored in 4 out of 5 periods. The only period they are outscoring their opponents is the shootout. The first period, they're being outscored by 5, 25-30, by 3 in the second, 30-33. And by 4 in the third, 31-35. So the biggest differential is in the first period. When the Preds win, they only have a 2-goal advantage in the first period. So 13-11. So there's a 7-goal disadvantage in the first period when the Preds lose those games. The second period, there's a 5-goal advantage for the Preds, 19-14 in the games that they win, an 8-goal disadvantage in the games that they lose, 11-19, and then in the third period, the Preds have a huge advantage when they win, 21-8, and a huge disadvantage when they lose, 10-27. So the Preds are being outscored by 4 in the third period overall, but how the game turns out really affects how the scoring goes in the third period. As I said, they were being outscored in overtime too, as well, a 2-3, and then 3-0 in a shootout. I got the goals, win, empty nets. Preds started to make some modifications here to this other thing, and the empty net goals, and then breaking out extra time, but I didn't finish. So taking out empty nets, basically the Preds, here at home, right? Taking out empty nets, the Preds are even as far as goal scoring goes, 26-26. The Preds have 5 empty net goals. The opponents have 9. The differential becomes 8 in both directions. Preds win. They have an 8-goal advantage, 16-8. And if they lose, they've got an 8-goal disadvantage, 18-10. So that's kind of interesting. And maybe I should finish that graph before and understand it. It's always nice to understand how that goes. Anyway, so that's your goal scoring, which takes us to matchups. Okay, so we are playing the Chicago Blackhawks. We're playing the Chicago Blackhawks. The Preds are at home. And so what are we going to talk about first? We are going to talk about goal scoring. So the Preds are at home. The Blackhawks are on the road. So Chicago has played 26 games on the road, which is one of the least in the NHL. 28 teams have played more. 3 have played the same. Nobody has played less games than the Blackhawks. So maybe not that much more. What would I think I've got the no, I don't have the ranges here. I have ranges. Let's put that down. We need the ranges here. I think I've got it. Power play goals. On the other one, I've got ranges, but not the ranges of games played. Anyway, so the Preds have played 30 games at home, which is one of the most. The team that played the most. So 4 teams have played more, 5 have played the same, 22 have played less. So that's why we look at goals per game. Look at the averages. So what are we looking at? Well, so Chicago has played 4 less games on the road than the Preds have played at home, but they have 2 more goals than the Preds do. So they are 25th in the league for road teams, scoring 2.69 goals a game. The league average is 3.01. So how does that go? The first period, they're 22nd, scoring 0.77, goals against 0.86. In the second, they are 30th in the league, 0.77, and then goals against 9.8. And then in the third period, they are 11th in the league in scoring on a per-game basis with 1.15, when the league average is 1.08. So they are actually above average goal scoring in the third period, which I guess it kind of explains why they're where they're at, right? As far as goals against, they are 9th in the league in being scored on the road, giving up 3.46 goals a game. League average for a road team, 3.14. The first period, not where that's happening. They're 17th in the league, 0.88. League average, 0.90, so slightly below average. They play... Oh, what was the beginning? I was trying to think of some funny way to do it. In the second period, they go up to 9th in the league, giving up 1.19 goals against. League average 1.10, so not that much above. And then, no, wait. Home teams. That's road. It's supposed to be road information. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. I'll have to go check my math here because... average goal scoring from the second to the third seems to decline on average, but that's not real. I got to check this number. No, it looks like it's anyway. That's average. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still going to check this number. It doesn't. Something about that doesn't look right. As goal scoring for road teams goes up from the second to the third period by 9.1%, and somehow the average is below the second period, which I guess is possible, but doesn't really make sense. Anyway, so the. Talking about Chicago, and the goal scoring in the third period goes up again, 1.31. No, that's goals against. That would make sense. Goals against would go down from the second to third period because for home teams, because they're on the road, and home teams score less in the third period than they do in the second. So the average would go down. Okay, so that number's right. Okay, I'm looking at road numbers thinking that road teams go up from period to period to period, which Chicago does follow that metric, but they do give up more goals in the third period than the second. They are 4th in the league on a per-game basis of giving up goals in the third period, 1.31. So, so they give up a lot of goals in the second and the third period, and not so much in the first, so they're good for them. What do the Preds do? Well, the Preds are 23rd in the league in scoring for home teams, scoring 2.93. Oh, right. That wasn't a real... Oh. The whole thing where the Blackhawks have scored 2 more goals than the Preds is wrong. That's their rank, not number of goals. Sorry. The Preds have scored 88 goals in the first period, and Chicago scored 70. That is the rank, not the number. Okay, well, the pause, apparently there were a lot of pausing. Anyway, so the Preds are 23rd in the league, scoring 2.93 goals a game. League average for a home team, 3.13, so they are 0.2 behind the league average. In the first period, .83 to league average of .9, so they're below average. The second period, they're scoring 1 goal a game, league average 1.1. And then in the third period, they don't improve that much more. They do go up. They went up 1 goal. They scored 30 goals in the second and 31 in the third, so that's contrary to the league trend for home teams. So they get to 1.03, but that's still below league average of 1.06. So the Preds are below average in scoring in all 3 periods, with Chicago being above average scoring for a road team in the third. As far as goals against, the Preds are 4th in the league in giving up goals for home teams, giving up 3.37 goals a game, with league average being 3.01. The first period, 4th, they maintain that, giving up a goal a game, league average 0.86. 9th in the second, giving up 1.10, 0.98 being the league average, and 11th in the third period, giving up 1.17 goals a game, league average 1.07. So they give up more than league average in all 3 periods. Chicago below average in the first, but above average in the second and third. So what does that say? Neither of these teams score a lot, except Chicago does score in the third period. And I guess, which is now starting to make me think about what happened in the last game between these two, because that would have been, that was a home game too, for the Preds. So the Preds back in they gave up 3 goals. I wonder if they were all in the third period. Let's take a look. Second and third, they gave up 1 in the second and 2 in the third. 1 being an empty net. And power play goal. They got a power play goal in the second period, and then a goal in the third, and an empty net goal. So there's that. Hope we do not repeat that scenario. Chicago does tend to give up goals in the second and third period. Preds below average in scoring, but hopefully the Preds can make up for that. That's for sure. Okay, so that is goal scoring. As fun as that was. What about special teams? Right. So the Preds are at home. Chicago's on the road. So as far as the penalty kill goes, the Blackhawks are 8th in the league in the penalty kill on the road, 84%, 12 goals against on 75 opportunities. They've scored 2 shorthanded goals. As far as time shorthanded per games played, they're 23rd in the league for road teams. Goals against per games played dips down to 24, so at least those numbers go in the right direction for Chicago. For the Preds, they are the 3rd. They're now the 3rd best penalty kill team at home. I think Colorado jumped over them. 83%, 15 goals against on 90 opportunities, so they've given up 3 more goals on 15 opportunities than Chicago. They also have 2 shorthanded goals. And as far as time shorthanded per games played, they are 8th in the league. 8th in the league for home teams, so that's quite a bit. But goals against, they're 22nd, so that number definitely goes in the right direction pretty well. But that 8th in the league in goals, time shorthanded per games played, that's pretty high. What about the power play? Chicago's power play is 13th in the league for road teams, 20.9%, 14 goals for on 67 opportunities. They've given up 1 shorthanded goal. As far as power play per games played, they're 24th in the league. And goals for per games played, 18th. So that's good for them. That number's, again, going in the right direction. That would put them in the lower third for being shorthanded and power play. They did get a power play goal against the Preds. Let's see, I got that data somewhere, but since I've got the game up, How many penalties did they have? They did not get very many. They put 1, 2, 3. They had 3 opportunities on the power play. Okay. For the Preds power play, and that was at home for the Preds, so that's, Anyway, for the Preds, they are 10th in the league in the power play at home, 22%, 20 goals for on 90 opportunities, so they've gotten 6 more goals on 23 more opportunities than Chicago. Yes, they played 4 more games, so this kind of makes sense. They have not given up a shorthanded goal as far as power plays per games played. They're 18th in the league, so a little below average. And then goals for per games played, 15th. So that ticks up in the right direction. So I can say both of the power plays are decent. The penalty kills are both good. So, kind of the Preds power play probably a little better than Chicago's, and their penalty kill a little better. But it did not work out that way in the last game. Looked like the Preds had three power play opportunities. Well, actually, we can go to my special team spreadsheet and look at how this goes. Yeah, the Preds had 3 opportunities. Chicago had 2, and Chicago got 2 special teams plays. One was the empty net, so they got 1 power play goal, and the Preds got none. So anyway. So how does the percentages work out here at home? Well, the Preds have a 32% effectiveness in the first period on the power play. At home, 8 goals on 25 opportunities. So that is the most goals that they have scored on the power play in any period. And it is the least number of opportunities that they've had. So that's 32%. Correspondingly, the opponents are only at 14% in the first period, 5 goals on 35 opportunities. So quite a bit more opportunities for the opponents than the Preds, but the Preds have scored more. The second period, scoring about the same, 4 goals both for the Preds and the opponents. 35 opportunities again still for the opponents, but only 4 goals. The Preds have gone up to 30 opportunities in the second period, but have half the goals, so 20% more opportunities in the second than the first, but 50% less, but half the goals. The third period, the Preds do get back up to 21%. Well, okay, so rounding out the second period, the opponents are at 11%, which is the lowest. As far as the third period goes, the Preds tick back up to 21%, but so do the opponents tick up to 23%. That is the period where the opponents are their most effective. 6 goals, which is the most on any period on the power play, but 26 opportunities, which is the least of all 3. So that's 23%. The Preds get their most opportunities in the third period and have 8 goals on those 38 opportunities for 21%. Overall, it's pretty easy math there. The third period runs about a 22% success rate on the power play for both teams. The second period, the lowest at 12%. And then the first period, the biggest differential between the Preds and the opponents, averages out to 22%, 32 for the Preds and 14 for the opponents. And that takes us to people to watch. Okay, not a long list, and kind of a weird thing. Okay, so once again, I'm augmenting this by talking about some of the people and where they're at in their career. Okay, so first up for the Chicago Blackhawks on the road, leading the team in a lot of categories, number 59, left wing Tyler Bertuzzi. He's first on the team in goals with 15. He's third in assists with 10, second on the team in points with 25, second on the team in shots with 55, but a whopping 27.3% shooting percentage. So his shooting percentage is pretty good, and he's the highest goal scorer on the road, almost by twice as much. The second place is 8. So, so Tyler Bertuzzi, really high shooting percentage. Bertuzzi has 2 more years on his contract. He'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of that. He's 30 years old and $5.5 million. So I don't recall that he's got a no trade. Bertuzzi, where's Bertuzzi? He's got a 10-team no trade list, and so does Burakovsky. But that's interesting. So $5.5 million is the highest paid forward. They've got 2 defensemen that are paid higher than that, but they're both injured. Those are both of the season-ending injuries. And then if we look at the goaltenders, their goaltenders are not. So $5.5 million is the highest payroll of active players for Chicago. That's really kind of interesting. But yeah, so Tyler Bertuzzi got all those stats. And then next up is number 28 left wing Andrei Burakovsky, who is also $5.5 million. He's second on the team in goals with 8. Second on the team of players. I'm going to have a caveat here coming up, but he's second in active players with 21.6% shooting percentage. So 8 goals on 37 shots. So the 2 guys for Chicago with the highest goal scoring on the road also have really good shooting percentages. And Bertuzzi did get a power play goal, against the Preds the other night, back in January, the last game they played, and that was also in Nashville. So that's kind of, so number 59, Bertuzzi, 28, Burakovsky. Burakovsky has 1 more year on his contract, unrestricted free agent. He's 31, and like I said, also $5.5 million. So both of those guys would be, I don't know if, he's got a modified trade clause too. I don't know. I don't know what Chicago's doing. They probably don't want to get rid of either one of those guys. Yeah. Anyway, so they're pretty productive. They're the 2 productive guys. And then you get number 98 center Connor Bedard, who is third on the team in goals with 7, first on the team with assists with 22, so he's first on the team in points with 29. He's second on the team in time on ice, so he's the forward on the ice the most at 20.59. And first on the team in shooting with 65. Bedard, I did not note down any information about Bedard. But yeah, here he is down here. He's an assistant captain. He's 20. He'll be a restricted free agent at the end of the year. And I really don't think they would. He's still got an entry-level contract. Connor Bedard, hey, they're not going to want to get rid of him. 2-way contract. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Connor Bedard. And then 2 defensemen. So first up, second on the team in assists with 11. His only stat, number 55 defenseman, Artyom Levshunov. And then number 72 defenseman, Alex Vlasic, tops on time on ice with 21.17. Back to a couple of more caveats. First on the team is Lucas Reichel, number 73 left wing Lucas Reichel. But he was traded to Vancouver back in October, so you don't really count him. No big deal. Two goals on 5 shots, so 40%. And then who would be third on the team would be number 76 left wing Nick Lardis. But he's playing for Rockford Ice Hogs. He's got 3 goals on 11 shots for 27.3%, just like Bertuzzi. So that 27.3% for Bertuzzi is outstanding for on the road. I guess I probably should have I know I look at stats. I don't always look at that type of information as far as, where they rank. Sometimes I do. 27.3% for where's shooting percentage shots. Goals for and against. It should be right up here. Penalties and minutes, shots. Well, shoot. This is taking too long. I thought it was on the first page of goals for and against. Let's try that. I'm going to have to go look this up. But I bet he is, he's got to be near the top on shooting percentage on the road. Oh, there it is. It was on that screen, just not wide enough. Yeah, so we got a couple of people at 100, and then we go to 50. And then we get down here to Jake Neighbors. Pretty good. Tyler Bertuzzi overall is 27th in the league with 27th in the league and shooting percentage on the road just in general. But some people only have like one goal. Not that many games played. So probably if I filtered that down a little bit more, but I'm not going to do it here. This will take it too long to do it. But 27.3% is pretty good. Let's just say. For the Predators, number 91 center Steven Stamkos, first on the team in goals with 18, second in shots with 77, but first on the team in 23.4% shooting percentage. So dangerous person there. Number 9, left wing Philip Forsberg, second on the team in goals, second in points, first in shots. Mr. Stat, number 90, center Ryan O'Reilly, third on the team in goals with 11, first in assists with 20, so he's first on the team in points with 31, third in time on ice with 20-25, and he's second on the team in shooting percentage with 21.2%, 11 goals on 51 opportunities. So the Preds have two guys with over 20% shooting percentage, as does Chicago. Pretty amazing there. Next up, number 77, right wing Luke Evangelista, second in assists with 18, third in the team in points with 23, and then the captain, number 59, defenseman Roman Josi, third in assists with 17, tops and ice time 24:02. So what about momentum? Well, we just got done with the pause, right? So, how can, all right, 10, we'll put 10 here, apply the filters. So, yeah, okay, so I did go back, so I had to do this. So if they have to play more than 10 games, so people that played more than 10 games, Bertuzzi's 12th in the league with 27.3%, 55. He's got at least twice as many shots as, well, there's somebody's 37, but most other people, 12 shots, 10 shots, 10 shots, 37 shots, so 55 shots. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so as far as momentum, the pause just got over. So I think, what was it? Stamkos said that, for a 36-year-old, the first practice back after a pause was hard in the wrong way, something along those lines. Anyway, yeah, kind of funny. Yeah, I guess he just turned 36 over the pause, but it's, nobody really has momentum. I guess Chicago is 10, 12, and 4 on the road. They had a 5-game losing streak, then they won one and lost once, and then they went into the pause. So they were going into the pause, they lost 6 and only won 1, 3-5-2 in their last 10. Their last home trip, they were 0-1-0, which was that. No, that wasn't the last game, but they had 1-game homestand. Interesting stat there: 7-4-2 versus the Central. So that's interesting. I mean, they're winning record against the Central Division. For Nashville at home, they're 15-12-3. They did have a 2-game losing streak going into the pause, 3-4-3 in the last 10. The last homestand, they were 1-0-1, 8-9-3 against the Central. But their home record against the Central is awful. They're 3-6-2. The only team that they beat in regulation at home is quickly coming back over here is St. Louis. So in regulation, they're 2-6 against the Central Division. Those 2 wins being both against St. Louis. In overtime, they're 0-2 here at Nashville against Central Division teams, and then 1-0 in a shootout. So that doesn't not the best record against the Central Division at home. Just awful. And that includes what they played Chicago twice, so they've got a regulation loss here at home and a regulation win on the road. So no overtime in Chicago this year, but their record at home, I can even say Bridgestone because they played Pittsburgh on the road at home. So their home record against Central Division team is not good. Not good. They're 2-6, 4-3 on the road against them team. They got a winning record in regulation. They're 50-50 in overtime. So their home record against Central Division teams is just awful. So I don't know. Hopefully this pause. The Preds should be on the right track. They've got to buckle down. They can and work hard. They can get in the playoffs. Chicago kind of done as far as playoffs goes. It's kind of like who are they going to be trading away and who are they going to be getting back and what are they going to do for the rest of the season and where are your golf clubs? So I don't know. Hopefully. The Preds can pick up the momentum and come out of this with a win. That would be awesome. But stats are what the stats are. So not feeling very optimistic about this game. But go Preds. So Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Bridgestone Arena, Chicago Blackhawks in town to take on the Nashville Predators, the first game after the pause for both teams. Thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.